everybody, it's Stewart A. Swerdlow.
And Janet Swerdlow.
And it's the Expansions News podcast for the third week in February. It's the week after Valentine's Day. And still snowing. Yeah.
More snow coming.
And more snow coming. And so, speaking of snow, there was again, for the second time this week, heavy snow in Tokyo, Japan, which was almost paralyzed by all the snow. People think, Japan's in the north is cold, but not. They get a lot of the warmer air from the Pacific, so it keeps Japan relatively warm. However, Tokyo has gotten a lot of snow in the last couple of weeks, and this last bunch that came the other day, several people died. There was train derailments, the flights were canceled, power outages, which is very odd for technologically advanced Japan. And as I mentioned, I think last time, I said it's probably happening because they know I'm coming there. And so I mentioned that to my sponsor, and she said, yes, she says, they're all waiting for me to get to Tokyo to shovel the streets for them because they like the way I shovel. But not going to happen in Japan. You have to shovel your own. And again, snow story, Sochi Olympics. And as we know, it's turning out to be one of the warmest Winter Olympics ever. Well, here's a clue. Sochi has palm trees. It is not a cold environment. Whose bright idea was it to have the Winter Olympics in a coastal, semi-tropical city? Not bright. But here's the thing. Around Sochi, and I've been in the area once before, there's very, very high mountains that are usually always covered with snow. Except that once we get into February, in that part of Russia, which is the most southern part of Russia, where it almost borders on Georgia and Turkey in that area, this time of year it's already starting to get to be spring there. So not a bright idea, but here's why they did it. You think, oh, they were really stupid? Well, there was a method to their madness, and that is that way they can promote global warming and say, you see, we can't even have the Winter Olympics anymore because it's so warm. And just today on CNN, they had some of the athletes say, gee, the Winter Olympics are in danger from now on because of global warming. Look what's happening here.
Oh, plus they have it documented now so they can refer back.
Well, maybe next time they'll have the Winter Olympics in Miami.
Or Hawaii.
Yeah, that'll be probably. You know what? Hawaii has snow.
I know, amazing.
Yes, and you know what they said on the video, which there'll be a link on this podcast to that. They said, you know where they should have had the Winter Olympics?
Where?
Guess.
Hawaii.
No.
Michigan.
Michigan. They said Michigan had the coldest and snowiest weather on the earth.
You're kidding.
No,
wow.
And that they should have had it here.
Wow.
Well, look outside and you'll see.
It's incredible.
It's Winter Olympics every day here.
True.
So I thought that was interesting. Now, let's get into the other side of that, and that is the flooding in the UK. Well, there seems to be no end in sight for that, and of course they're blaming it on the global warming. There's all these stories on the news, why is it so cold here and so rainy in Britain? Well, first of all, the real reason is, as I have mentioned many times, is due to that Gulf disaster a couple of years ago. There's no more Gulf Stream. And so there's no more diversion of weather or recalibration of the northern and southern air masses. And so unfortunately, where Britain is located right at the edge of the Atlantic Ocean, the storms have nothing to stop them or block them. And as they hit that area, Britain goes on to the side of the storm that's wet, and Eastern Europe and Northern Europe get the cold weather. It's been very snowy. They said Italy has had more snow than ever before on record. There's been heavy snow in the Alps, and Eastern Europe also very cold, snowy weather. So Britain's on the wrong side of things. Well, they drive on the wrong side of the road, so it's not a surprise they're on the wrong side of the storms.
There you go.
So there's that. And the other interesting thing that's been going on is the earth is moving under your feet. Just the other day, there was a 4.1 earthquake in South Carolina that was felt all the way to Atlanta, Georgia.
And somebody wrote in, and I don't know if you read this or if it's true, but they said that the military was actually doing exercises in that area at that time.
Well, South Carolina actually is on a major fault zone. And it was 1886. Charleston had a 7+ earthquake that was felt as far as New York City. So it's not unusual. But the earthquakes are getting a little bigger, more frequent and stronger in South Carolina. In fact, just a couple of days before this one, there was a small one in eastern North Carolina. Now that's something you never hear about. So it's all along that same fault line that goes from the edge of North Carolina through South Carolina into the eastern part of Georgia, and we're going to see more activities there as time goes on, especially as the Caribbean tectonic plate rises up. And again, in alignment with all of this, you must have heard about that big sinkhole that opened up underneath the Corvette Museum in Kentucky. Well, it swallowed up 8 prized Corvettes worth millions of dollars. There was a crevasse that opened up in the showroom 30 to 40 feet deep. All the cars just fell in there, one on top of the other.
Did they say how wide the crevasse was?
It was, I think, 40 feet wide.
Whoa, thank goodness that people weren't there. Did this happen in the night?
Yes, it was actually filmed on their security camera. They just saw everything go right in. So some of these cars were one of a kind left, that they just cannot repair them even. They said maybe one car could be repaired that they know of. But here's a question. They said that it was built over a cave.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Brilliant. You're building up a showroom, a museum for fancy cars over a cave. I don't believe that story. I don't think they knew that there was a cave there. I think that is all part of this New Madrid fault line opening up along that area, which runs right near that area. And we're seeing sinkholes open in Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, all the way, even here in Michigan.
Well, there are a lot of caves in that area, and that might be partly as a result of.
Yes, well, there's that
or vice versa.
Famous one. There's that Mammoth.
Well, the one we go to, or
no, the one in Kentucky.
I think it's
Mammoth Cave, and it's not too far. This showroom was not too far. So yes, there could have been tunnels and caves under the area.
Who knows?
But still, why would it collapse unless something moved? So we got to keep that in mind. And can I make before I go into your stories, can I make a quick comment on the Q&A?
Are you supposed to ask my permission?
Well, you're on my handler, so.
That's true. Well, I thought he was our handler.
That's true. The camera.
So you handle me,
both
and
are. Yeah, it's like
so maybe I should.
They say crap runs downhill.
Is it okay if he asks this, Mr. Handler?
Yeah, he says yes. He gives us a sign. He gave us
thumbs up. So I.
No, he gave us that trigger sign.
Oh, I'm going to talk about that actually.
Yeah, so that we can. Here's the thing, people. Listen. I know there's rumors out there that I'm a little tiny bit snotty on Q&A sometimes. I just don't even know where that comes from. But I think this should be on there and the rules. I cannot do dream analysis on Q&A. I cannot do a body scan for you on Q&A. I cannot give you cures for illnesses for other people without speaking to them or seeing them or knowing what's going on. So please, people, when you write in on Q&A, make it a question that's for everybody. It's not a personal Q&A for you. It's supposed to be a question about history, health, general health, things like this.
It's for the general readership.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we have to go in and look at these people specifically.
Because sometimes they ask questions, that take pages of a book or a whole chapter of a book or a whole book to answer. And I can't do that on Q&A, and you know that. So please be a little more thoughtful when you write your questions. And if I do answer in a little bit snappy way, well, it's because I probably just came in from shoveling.
Maybe.
And, maybe Janet said something nasty to me. I don't know.
That's what I usually do every day.
Yeah, so it's
you
possible.
have to deal with me.
Yeah,
so I can understand.
If they only knew.
What you go through, it's horrible.
It's just unbelievable.
If they could just see it.
It's another book. I'll write a book about it.
All right,
go on now.
Go on with mine, because I have some really, again, fantastic stories.
Of course, because you take all the stories that I could use, and I can't say them because you do them.
Well, that's because I have different websites.
Go ahead.
I have secret websites.
I bet you do. That's where you get the sex stuff from.
What sex stuff?
Just keep talking. Just go.
Okay, well the first thing I want to tell you about today is diamonds in Antarctica.
We never found any there.
No, but they didn't let us go very far. And remember, you're not supposed to take anything off of Antarctica either, because they don't want that frequency going away with you.
Yes.
But anyway, this was interesting because Antarctica just does not go away in the news these days. So they're saying that a type of rock called kimberlite suggests that, let's see, it's a kind of rock that, I have to read from here to make sure I have it correct. It's a kind of rock that often contains diamonds called kimberlite that was found in Antarctica for the first time, hinting at minerals that were very rich in the vast icy continent. It says where mining is currently banned. It says no diamonds were actually found, but the researchers are now saying that they are confident that the gems are actually there. According to the Australian National University in Canberra, they said that it would be very surprising if there weren't diamonds in these kimberlites. Now, another expert says that the future is not so clear because now they're telling us that gold, platinum, copper, iron, and coal have also been found in Antarctica, and that diamonds are already mined in some of the world's colder reaches of northern Canada and Siberia. Now, I've never heard that before.
No. Usually
You only associate that with Africa and the warmer climates. And they're saying that the last major find of a diamond mine was in Zimbabwe in 1997. Now, what's interesting is not only are they saying diamonds are found in other climates, but they're saying with the demand for diamonds that we can't meet that. Now, of course, there are a lot of people out there that say that we actually have a lot of diamonds, but the people who own the diamond mines only release a few at a time.
And it keeps the price up.
To keep the price up. But for the average person out there who doesn't know that, they're going to say, oh, we're going to need these kind of minerals, and therefore it's going to at some point open up to possibly mining Antarctica. Another reason to go underground.
But didn't they also say they were going to mine asteroids, which they know have diamonds and things like this?
Yes.
And was it last week? They announced that there are some planets out there that are totally made of diamonds.
Yes, I read that too.
Or some are liquid diamond.
Yes. So they're alluding to the fact that they're going to start going again underground. And there are reasons, of course, economic reasons that you're supposed to be able to understand. Now, riding on the heels of that, out of Juneau, Alaska, came this report that the U.S. State Department plans to create an Arctic ambassador. Oh. And it's going to be a position to highlight the growing importance of the Arctic region. Secretary of State John Kerry said that he plans to name, quote, a high-level individual of substantial stature and expertise.
Me.
Unquote, possibly.
Possibly me.
To serve as special representative for the Arctic region.
So here's a question.
Yeah.
Does that mean he will represent the Arctic region, or he'll be the ambassador to the Arctic region?
I don't know, because we really don't have many people up there. So what's the point?
Nobody. Unless they know Hyperborea is really there.
And they find it, and now they have an ambassador
Just like they have an ambassador to aliens in the UN.
That's right, and now we have one to the Arctic.
Interesting.
Now, Kerry writes in
Unless polar bears have a government.
They might.
Which could possibly be.
Well, and what was it, the Golden Compass? They have the talking bear.
That's right, well, I have one downstairs.
A bear what?
I'm not telling you.
Okay, so I want to quote you this letter. Because Kerry writes, for a long time now, I've shared the view that the Arctic region really is the last global frontier, and the United States needs to elevate our attention and effort to keep up with the opportunities and consequences presented by the Arctic's rapid transformation. Properly managed, this region provides an opportunity for creative diplomatic leadership. That's right, because you've got to deal with all the bears and seals and stuff. But truly establishing and capitalizing on this leadership role will require making the Arctic region a higher U.S. priority. Greater attention paid by senior policymakers, and in keeping with President Obama's call for national unity of effort on the Arctic, coordination of operational departments. Still makes no sense.
It doesn't make any, it's just a lot of words.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah. And Kerry couldn't possibly put that together himself.
No, probably not. But now here we go. It says apparently there's an 8-nation Arctic Council, which I didn't even know about, and the U.S. is going to take over the rotating chairmanship of this in 2015. So therefore now he's setting up this ambassador position. So again, it's all very odd. But we have the North Pole always now in the news and the South Pole in the news. So we need
that means we're bipolar.
Or bipolar. You're going to have to keep your eye on this news. Now this I thought was interesting too. This came out of Jerusalem. That Israel has admitted that in the 1990s, it's always, 20, 30 years ago.
Well, I'm not going to say when they do it.
That in the 1990s, Israel says its forensic pathologists harvested organs from dead bodies, including Palestinians, without permission of their families. Apparently,
is that kosher?
I don't know. It says there are now allegations by a Swedish newspaper that Israel was killing Palestinians in order to harvest their organs.
I heard about that in China. China was using the prisoners for that.
Okay, now Israel's denied the charges until now. Now they're claiming that they did. It. They said that the forensic specialists at Abu Kabir harvested skin, corneas, heart valves, and bones from the bodies of Israeli soldiers, Israeli citizens, Palestinians, and foreign workers.
So at least they were fair to everybody.
Often without permission from relatives. Now this reminds me, we read in the news not too long ago, we did not report it. Somebody said that one of their relatives came back without a heart.
Dead, obviously.
Obviously, but one of the bodies came back
Although some of my relatives don't have a heart.
Well, anyway, it says here that they talk about how the doctors would mask the removal of corneas from bodies, such as gluing the eyelids shut, and said we would take corneas from families we knew would, we would not take corneas from families we knew would open the eyelids.
Somehow it sounds like a Saturday Night Live script.
Well, the thing that's interesting,
put a patch over this.
But remember how that they go into the frequency so you get used to these things. So
but that was going on in the Sinai Desert, if you remember, in Egypt, where some group of nomads was killing the refugees from Africa and taking their organs.
Yes. Now here's the very interesting part, which just seems to be what happens. It says Israel's Attorney General dropped criminal charges against the head of the Forensic Institute. His last name's Hiss, but he still works as chief pathologist at the institute. So even though they dropped the charges, they were doing all this illegal stuff, apparently his reward is to be chief pathologist at the institute. So, and this man, of course, had no comment on the TV report. Okay. Now, on the heels of this, there is a report out of Pennsylvania, which you might have read about this when it happened. This is a 19-year-old woman, which is significant age.
Yeah.
Her name is
Mother of Darkness program.
Yes, the number 19, Miranda. And of course, here in the U.S., we have Miranda rights that are read. Miranda Barber said that she wants to plead guilty to killing a man in November. She and her then husband found a man on Craigslist that she said she would exchange companionship for money. So while this man got in her car, her then husband hid in the back seat. They strangled this man with a cord while she stabbed him. And because they claimed they wanted to kill somebody together. So that's why they claim they did it.
We never do things together like that.
Well, thank God. Although some people say we do things like that.
Well, that's true.
Now this woman, this is the interesting part. It gets more interesting. The plot thickens. She claims, she's 19 years old. She claims that when she was 13, she joined a satanic cult, and that she has killed at least 22 other people from Alaska to North Carolina in the last 6 years.
Well, she gets around, that girl.
She claims if she gets out of jail, she'll kill again.
Because she's honest.
And she joined this cult when she was 13. Now, we're getting used to more public killings, unfortunately, but true. In fact, just today I was flipping through Facebook, and now on Facebook, if you just scroll down, sometimes a video pops up like these little ones, and they showed some guy, don't ask me who it was, but it was somewhere in the Middle East or Africa, and he had these naked people, and he was marching them up and shooting them in the back of the head. And this video was like 30 seconds, and it's like I flipped on it, and by the time you scroll down, this is happening in front of you. You're actually seeing people kill people. And of course, they're saying how horrible it is. But more and more of public killing things is happening. Not only if you want to see it, you don't want to see it. So they're getting you used to public killing. So it's really a horrible thing. But I'm sure this story is going to be big for a while because it involves public killing. It involves a 19-year-old. It involves Miranda, the name, and it involves a satanic cult.
Last name.
And what?
Barber.
Yeah. So explain the meaning of that.
Barber,
Yeah.
The barber of Fleet Street.
Yeah.
Used to cut their throats and make stuff out of their blood.
Yeah, I was even thinking about, they used to call the Waldensian priests the Barbs, B-A-R-B-E, in that language. So a lot of interesting symbolism, so I think this story is going to be around for a while. Now, teen challenges. Now the newest thing apparently is, and now don't practice this at home please, and don't you practice this either. Teens are snorting condoms up their nose.
Why?
So they snort it up their nose and it comes out their mouth.
That's nuts.
I know.
That's like sick.
Yeah, but that's...
These people need a job.
Yeah. So don't ask me why anybody would even want to do that, but again, it is putting, condoms out there into the public and into teen hands. So.
Well, that's why they're pregnant, because they're putting in the wrong place.
Body parts. I don't know.
Oh, if we'll have sex, put a condom on your nose.
No, up your nose.
Oh, yeah, then we won't have a baby.
Maybe that's why, but anyway, that was interesting.
Those are just dumb people.
Well, obviously they have nothing else to do. Anyway, and then the wedding trend for 2014, for any of you who are interested in getting married or following the trends.
I'm hoping they're getting married.
I'm hoping you're getting married too.
Because there's a Mormon church just across the street. I could have like 5 wives.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And then what
you
would
could
happen
be the
to
head
you?
wife.
What would happen to you?
I would probably have a condom put down my throat.
Or other places, tied around your throat.
Or those rubber bands.
Or the rubber band
talk
things.
about that
That's right. So we'll pretend you didn't make that comment.
No, we won't. Erase that from the tape.
Yeah. So wedding jumpsuits are the new trend for 2014. So instead of wedding dresses, the women now they're saying should wear a wedding jumpsuit.
Like a parachute jumpsuit?
Well, kind of. Except they've got lace and frilly stuff on them.
A frilly
jumpsuit.
Parachute.
Kind of. But the point is, again, women are supposed to wear dresses, not pants. So, to me, it lends itself more toward moving everybody toward this equality. And speaking of which, probably one of the biggest news stories to hit the internet is about Facebook. Because Facebook is now allowing users to not only identify themselves as male or female, but to identify themselves as bi, gender, intersex, androgynous, or any identity they choose.
But can't you do that anyway?
No, it's either, what are you, male or female?
But they could put on their profile.
Because you have to check a box. Now you can check a box that says you're androgynous, you're bi, you're trans.
Really?
All this, probably cyborg. I think there are like 52 choices. But what follows on the heels of this, which continues to make life interesting, is not only can they choose whatever gender, but they can choose a pronoun that they want to be identified as.
Like Mr., Mrs.
No, well, it used to be him or her.
Oh, I see.
Now they're talking about even bringing in gender-neutral pronouns, such as
like
ZE or ZEN.
What does that mean?
Well, we don't know yet.
It's like German.
Yeah.
What are you? I am Z.
Yeah.
Androgynous one.
Because if you're not a he, let's say you're androgynous, you're not a he or a she, what are they going to call you?
It.
I don't know. Because
thing.
an it is...
It's, remember Thing from the Addams Family?
But usually it means, that there's no gender. But now we're saying there is something going on. So I don't know. Or it is an object usually, I guess, rather than a gender.
I think they're just making too much out of the whole thing.
But they're obviously making changes. That's the thing that's interesting. And so I wanted to bring this to attention too, because this is really fascinating to me. We did talk about this in our last conference. Yeah. We talked about the icons out there, and of course our handler over there was showing us, this sign, which is, I'm watching you. Well, the thing that a lot of public people do, the public icons, they do a lot of this kind of thing too. And we've posted on our Facebook pages about the public, like the political leaders. There was one post you probably put up a couple months or so ago and had all the political leaders with their hands like this. What I've noticed is that there are a lot of people, how do we tell the pebbles, the real things from the not real things that are out there? And we've said it's really challenging to find them. I have noticed a lot of people in this genre of work happen to use this kind of hand signal when they're talking. They're like this and like this and like this all the time. This has, not only are we watching you, but it also directs you to your lower chakra, to your sexual chakra, which ties you into it. So if you're drawn to these people and they're always doing this, it means they're trying to rope you in sexually, and they're actually putting out
you told me that.
Sexual energy that they're trying to pull you in with. And if that you quote-unquote follow these people, be very aware of the hand gestures, because they always tell you what they're doing, but they're doing something different than what their words are. And that's what we teach you to do in our work, is we teach you to read the energy behind the words. And in addition, the subliminal things that they are consciously doing. And this hand gesture I see more and more in people in the, the self-help movement, self-empowerment, you know, New Age, whatever. There's a lot of this stuff going on. And if you watch what the leaders are doing, what's her name? The German woman.
Angela.
Yeah, Angela, she does that all the time. The Bushes do it. Clintons do it. They all do it.
Does the Queen do it?
I don't know, because I know she shakes a lot of hands like this.
She may do one like, hello.
She might.
Hello.
Yeah.
Like that.
Or maybe between her and Philip, between the two of them, they get that thing going.
Yes. Not amused.
But anyway, I just thought that was fascinating, because the more that I'm looking at these people out there, and of course, you know, people send things, it comes across my desk, you know, so that, and of course, always the verbiage. You remember the things that we tell you. You know, you want to be aware of if they want to teach you anything about the astral world. Read my article on the astral realm, because you don't want to go there, and they're triggering you, and they're tying you and trying to hook you into places you don't want to be. You don't want to do out-of-body experiences, you know, a lot of things you don't want to do. So keep your eyes and ears open. You hook self, oversoul, God, mind. Okay?
Okay.
So
I got it.
with that, we want to tell them about our next appearances.
My next appearance will be in
March.
probably the kitchen.
March.
Hopefully to have something to eat. But after that,
March
in
14th.
March 14th, New York City. What's the name of the place?
The Meta Center. We will be there for an evening lecture, followed by a day or two of consultations.
And I will then climb the Empire State Building.
Yes, naked.
Naked.
Yeah.
And King Kong will be there. It's going to be fabulous.
You don't tell people what you call it.
Oh, you're right. That's a private joke.
Private things.
Right, sorry, I forgot.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then after New York City, then we have our fabulous Finding Your Frequency.
In April.
Here in April, hopefully the snow will be melted, but if you're lucky, the Great
Well,
Lakes.
I don't think it's going to melt, because they said no warming till middle spring.
Yeah, well, the Great Lakes,
So-
you may still get to see some icebergs and things, and you'll think you're in Antarctica. In fact, we'll probably have our handler mind control you, and you'll think you're in Antarctica.
And you know what we could do?
What?
We could take them out on the lake and do
Yeah.
ice floats.
We could.
They could see who does, who floats
Yeah.
on the ice.
That's true, and we can see if they can find magnetic north and south.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And clothing optional.
clothing optional, that's your favorite, when we might have to have King Kong take.
Woo!
Oh, I slipped again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then we have, right after that, you're taking off, from what I understand.
I'm always taking off.
To Japan.
To Japan.
Yeah, we have fabulous,
Where hopefully I will not have to shovel the streets in Tokyo.
hopefully not, and hopefully they don't give you those Valentine chocolates that I talked about last week.
Oh no.
So anyway,
I'm not
and you're
eating
going to be
chocolate.
doing some fantastic research, which let's not tell them about. Let's
No.
wait until you get
Well, I think
back.
we did once tell them.
Well, we'll let them find it, but let's not bring it
Yeah.
up again, because there's still some secret things we're working on. We don't want to reveal too much too soon, it'd be too much for them.
All right.
So anyway, that's what we've got planned so far. We have the new book out. I should have brought a copy, but I didn't. So True World,
You
Humanity.
showed them last time, didn't you?
Yeah, but you know how their memories are sometimes.
Yeah,
you know.
they're not-
They're
they're
watching
not-
too
they're not-
much of this stuff, and we've got to get them up.
They're snorting
this
condoms.
way. That's
For
what I
goodness
hear.
sake, stop doing that, people.
Yeah.
What if it gets stuck up there, you know?
I don't know. Well,
Oh.
I guess they're going to have to, maybe we'll have to rewrite our book, True Reality of Sexuality.
You know what?
What?
It gives a whole new meaning to what the Eskimos do with rubbing their nose. Now I get that.
There you go.
Okay, maybe the Eskimos could get away.
Maybe the Eskimos use the seal intestines and things. Because they do use
Yeah, so you can
stomachs
actually
and
do
stuff.
that and then swallow it.
Yeah, you could.
Because it's food then.
Right. And I know they make their drums and things out of like bladders and stomachs
Yeah.
and stuff. So a lot of stuff going on there. It's very interesting. So maybe we have discovered a new cultural thing that we'll have to write about.
Yeah. So I think that's it. Oh, so can I just make one more comment?
I'm not sure. What is it? Whisper it to me first.
Going
then
back
I'll-
to Sochi, because there was a Vladimir Putin paid a surprise visit to the Canadian and American teams, their compound, and one of the Canadian athletes, woman, took a selfie with Putin. Posted it. Well, do you know that they attacked her on the media and on Facebook and Twitter because they said she supported all of his policies by doing that? People, if you take a picture with somebody, that doesn't mean you support everything about them.
But you know why?
I used to take pictures with her. Half of the stuff I don't, agree.
He doesn't agree with
But, still, it doesn't mean anything. It's a selfie, for goodness sake. I mean, people are out of their minds.
But do you remember who I think that Putin is related to? Do you remember that little secret I told you?
Yes. Of course, I remember it, that you told me, but I don't know what it actually was.
You want to see if I remember
Which
it?
is why I make a good spy, because you could torture me and I would not
So
be
you
able
won't
to
remember.
answer.
I believe that he's really on the Rasputin
Ooh, Rasputin.
frequency.
Yes,
and
yes.
so, and that's why, because remember, Rasputin is all through that history, and now we have Putin. So
Putin and
to
Rasputin.
me, I think that there's a little bit of connection going on there. So next time you're there, you'll find that out. But in the meantime, here we are in the snow. You're in your vest, I'm in my vest.
I'm freezing, and I'm inside, and I'm freezing.
Yeah, so
And it's still snowing.
it's still snowing.
Wasn't supposed to snow, but here it is.
At least 6 more inches tomorrow for you.
Oh, at least.
But what's interesting, remember, is the frozen mind patterns keep falling down, and that's why the global cooling is happening, because people are not facing their emotions.
And read my new blog that I just put on about that. I had a new revelation about what the shoveling for me means, but it's on my blog.
All right, I'll read, because I don't know sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll make sure if it's correct, if I agree.
I know. Otherwise,
Yeah,
I'll be punished.
Yes, that's right. All right.
Well, until next time, this is Stewart and Janet Swerdlow.
Janet Swerdlow.
And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.